The man behind the viral social media account Stories from a Stranger is turning the collection of interviews into a book. Former ICU nurse Hunter Prosper has more than 6 million followers on TikTok for sharing stories from people he meets on the street. Hunter says he's inspired by his time caring for patients and deep connections he made with them. Now he's sharing those stories in a new book, hoping to spread some understanding and healing, and Hunter Prosper is here to tell us all about it. Hunter, what made you just start walking up to strangers and asking them to tell you their story?
Hi, Diane. Thank you so much for having me. The impetus for that was just being an ICU nurse. I studied all throughout college to be a nurse, but the one thing you can't study for is the loss that you experience being a nurse. And it just caused me to have a lot of empathy burnout, which I didn't recognize at the time. So I wanted to stop listening to people's stories. I felt like if I got close to you, I was going to have to do CPR on you. I was going to have to intubate you. I was going to have to sedate you because that was my experience in the ICU. And then one day I said, this has to stop. After about 8 months of not wanting to talk to anyone, not wanting to talk to my mom, friends, family, I said, this has to stop. So I went outside and I talked to a very nice older lady in Pittsburgh, which is where I live. And we talked for like 2 hours, and I went home with a big smile on my face. And I said, I think I want to keep doing this. And then I decided to take my phone one day, and here we are. Now I have a book.
You say sharing stories or hearing other stories can be profoundly healing. How so? And did you know that when you started this?
Yeah, so I always knew that everyone had a story, right? Diana knew the importance of everyone living their own experience, but what I didn't understand is how connected we are with our emotions. So our experiences are all completely unique, but whenever you actually listen to people, you realize that the emotions they go through are very similar, if not the exact same as you. So you felt anxiety, I felt anxiety, you felt love, I felt love. All these things are the same, and that's what connects us as humans. Our experiences, totally unique. I don't know what you've been through, but what I do know is that you felt the same emotions that I felt, and so has every person around us.
You've been running the social media account for a few years now. Obviously, it's going really well. What made you decide I need to turn these stories into a book?
Well, the book medium has always fascinated me. It's one that is as old as human history, right? Storytelling. And this medium is sort of one that I wanted to explore. So it almost feels like it's immortal now. People have a chance to read this book, and it can just be them and the book. Social media, sometimes you see my videos and you might really love them, but then you scroll and then you see a video that maybe you don't like as much. This book, it can be totally what you want to see. You flip the page, you know what you're going to get, and you get an entire hundreds of strangers getting to tell you stories that you want to hear.
What are some of your favorite stories featured in the book?
Well, there's so many. That's like picking my favorite child, Diane, right? But what I will say is the one that pops in my head first is my grandfather was a very soft-spoken man, and he didn't really have many words to share. But every time he did share something, it was wise. But for this book, I wanted to interview him. And so for the first time in my life, I got to sit down with him and talk to him for hours. And I asked him, what's the most beautiful thing you've been told? And he was so vulnerable with me, something I had never seen him really be in all my life of knowing him. And he was battling with a terminal diagnosis of COPD, and he's no longer with us. But this book was able to get him to open up and share things that he's never shared before. And I think that is kind of the crux of this book, is that every stranger you're reading is sharing things in their life that they otherwise never had the opportunity to. And I think that that just shows the importance of why you should ask people not just questions, but open-ended questions, and be willing to listen to them as well.
The book is, it's really beautiful, by the way. I'm holding it in my hands right now. You've got colored photos of every person that you interviewed along with their stories, some of them with multiple pictures showing their facial expressions. You really tried to capture the moment here. What do you hope people take away from all of this, take away from these stories from a stranger and the way you're trying to capture that moment in time?
I'm happy you like the pictures, Diane. My fiance took them. We traveled all over the country for them. So, but what I hope people take away is that this world feels very disconnected right now, Diane. And I feel as though this book can reconnect us. We are connected by our emotions. Our experiences, again, completely unique. But the person on the side of the street that you see that you feel has nothing in common with you has everything in common with you, and that is emotions. And so maybe if we stop and give ourselves and the people around us a little bit more grace, knowing that they're going through the same human experience you are as well, which is experiencing emotion.
All right, Hunter Prosper, author, content creator, former ICU nurse. We so appreciate it, Hunter. Thank you and congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Stories from a Stranger is out.